have Tamil Nadu, we have Kerala, who have all pitched in to make this a mass movement in India. And of course, we have a lot of international countries participating in this plastic movement. We have Pakistan, we have South Africa, we have Russia, we have name it, and we have around 40 odd countries around the world participating in this entire movement, that is the Plastic Free Life movement, or we call it the Plastic Free Week. This is just a beginning, I always say. It is no big thing that we're doing, but we're doing a beginning. We're trying to make a difference by starting somewhere, and we're hopeful we will be able to make an impact over the months and the years to come with this little stone and this little bud that we try to plant. With this, I would like to tell you a little about what we do at Sustain and Save. We are a one-stop solution on sustainability. Which was begun on 22nd of April, Earth Day, is just like yesterday. And now we are a family of 1,000+ youth that belong to Sustain and Save, youth that believe in the cause, youth that want to make a difference, and that is what we are. We believe in creating corporate impact by bridging the gap and connecting green products and service companies in India across the world. So it's by the Indians for the world. Our knowledge and resource inspiration, which focuses on social impact, includes various sustainable initiatives and inspiring stories, which we have been covering over in the last, I think, 6 months that we've been active. And trust me, it's been a lovely journey. While we all talk about reduce, reuse, recycle, we at Sustain and Save have tried to add the 3 R's of re-innovate, redefine, and being responsible. We aim to achieve affordable sustainability and circular economy. In less than 6 months, it has been indeed our fortune, and we say we are blessed to have had such amazing partners and have been able to collaborate with so many people like IKEA, Tetra Pak, Reliance, Suzlon, the Swedish government, CII, IGBC, and have been able to onboard more than 50 plus companies in sustainability as our own channel partners, and 12 plus educational institutes which are on board with us as on date. A youth driven organization which focuses on creating change proners and change makers in India. And this of another program on plastic, a 1 month long program which will look at making different solutions on waste that we generate in our daily lives and bringing about a mindset change in many. And for this, we have with us today an eminent speaker and, of course, a colleague, I would say, Karon Shavya. She is a social entrepreneur, writer, speaker, and a trainer, a very passionate worker. She is the founder of Idobro. Karen was awarded the most inspiring social enterprise at the hands of late Dr. C.K. She is won various accolades. I will not be going into the details, but has over 20 years of experience in Asia and USA in technology, education, finance, gemology, and development sectors. Lived in India, US, Africa, and Japan. In addition to holding a master's in marketing management, a bachelor's of engineering in computer science, he is a Chevening Fellow from Oxford University and an alumni member of the Swedish Institute Management Program in CSR and Sustainability. She's also a certified ISO 9001-2000 auditor and a Sigma Green Belt. A self-professed academician at heart, she has designed multiple programs and modules based on some of them being bright shared values, responsible, inclusive, sustainable, and eco-friendly to motivate individuals and institutions to be involved in their surroundings and co-create solutions. We are really, really happy to have you with us, Karen. And with this, I would request her to share her story of what she began on the 17th of last month in Mumbai and what she has been doing for the plastic waste segregation, plastic life change movement in Mumbai. With this, I hand over the baton to you, Carol, to share your thoughts.
Thank you so much, Pranati, for inviting me and, really for us to share, because the more we work together, I think the more we can achieve. So I'm so happy and, to be talking at the Swedish Institute Pune, Maharashtra and Goa chapter kickoff event. And a congratulations, a big congratulations to the entire team for what you are doing. And I wish you all the very best, because you guys are going to do it for a whole month. Wow. I mean, that's going to call for stamina. I can tell you that, because we did it for 1 week and I'm spent really. So, yeah, I mean, I hope I can maybe say a few words based on the presentation that I shared. And there, if you see, as Pranti, you just mentioned, we had the kickoff event on the 17th of October, where it was really beautiful to see the four different chapters coming together to have the kickoff event together. And that's the starting point. And based on that, I would just say a few words on what is the Swedish Institute Plastic Free Week Challenge. It's really a very simple thing, because obviously that's what it says. Can you live plastic free for just a week? And unfortunately, I can tell you from experience, it is extremely difficult. Yeah. I mean, you really have to put on new eyes altogether when you suddenly start to say plastic free, because plastic is everywhere, and every single part of our lives is touched with plastic, integrated with plastic, and you will find it very difficult to really live a plastic free week. And therefore, I really congratulate you all for taking it for a whole month to do this and take it. May I have the next slide, please? So, as I said,
Hello,
the
next.
whole plastic free week challenge, yeah, the whole plastic free week challenge is to live plastic free. But it's not only just about you, right? Because at the end of the day, we live in a world that's so connected. And so, how is it that you can maybe even work with others and partner with others? Or how is it that you can, collaborate with others to encourage more of a plastic free society? So it's not just about you, but it's also about people around you. And I hope you will have fun doing it. So I'm sure there'll be a lot of things that you all will plan, among yourselves with the chapter itself. So I'm sure there'll be a lot of fun things to do as well. So this is what we kicked off, and we really told everybody that do it with a lot of seriousness, but also have fun. So that was the starting point. Next slide, please. And similarly, we also had a kickoff event, and where we had all the different speakers. And so the way we did it, or rather I should say, is in three parts. So we had a kickoff event, then we had the actual challenge week, during which all the activities, and I'll talk about it very soon. And then last is the finale, which actually happens on the 4th of November. So we are now on the last leg of our journey through the plastic free challenge. Of course, we had a whole social media campaign, and I do hope that, along with you, along with us, along with the Bangalore and the Kerala chapter, we will create enough of buzz and we'll create enough of noise so that there is a lot of more awareness around the issue and a lot more sensitization around the issue. So please do make some noise. Yes, all of you together, a month long will be good to get going. Next slide, please. Yeah. So, yeah, can I have the next slide? Yeah, thank you. So this was our kickoff event once again, and the different speakers, and we had this young boy, young youth, and I think that's so important. I'm so glad to see your whole Changemaker program, because it's focused on what the youth can do for us, and that's also what we were focusing on, schools and students. And so we had this young boy who showed us how he had come up with this innovation called bottle bricks, and it was pretty impressive. And we'll maybe see a little bit more down later on the slides. Next, please. Yeah, so again, because there's so much that you want to do, it's always good to have an open house, and maybe you might want to do one too, so that we could take queries, we could clarify people's doubts, how to participate, what can they do, what is allowed, what is not allowed, because we don't, while we are saying plastic free, there are certain things we have to be practical about. If you already have plastic wrapped items in the house, you cannot throw that. Correct. So therefore, obviously, the idea is don't shop for more items with plastic, and those that you have in your house, make sure you reuse them as much as you can. Next slide, please. So open house is a great way to connect and get to know what are the other rules and regulations, or what are the other kind of ways you can do things. And so this is how we asked our people to participate, and there were 5 different ways to participate. One, as an individual, where you could take photographs of what you are doing, your thoughts, your ideas, and put it out there so that people can see you as a role model, people can see you as a person who's inspiring, people can see you as a person who's trying. Because even if you are not, if you're just a beginner, or or you are a practitioner or an innovator, at whatever level you may be, you will still be able to make somebody else think twice. And that's why the second one is creating awareness and asking other people to join, getting into conversations, getting into discussions, so that again you make people understand more and more about the issue. The third was about making bottle bricks, as I mentioned to you earlier, where it is an innovation by this young boy who went trekking in the Himalayas and realized and saw so much of waste that he came up with this idea. The fourth one is really about making sure that you dispose of your plastic very responsibly, not putting it in the trash. So understanding waste segregation, these are such important things, right? And the last but not the least is responsible shopping. All of us love shopping, there is no two ways about it. So when you are shopping, how do you shop? Are you mindful of the amount of plastic that goes into the products that you're getting? Are you looking at what you need to do to reduce the plastic that you get? And it's not easy. I mean, I know I do shopping a lot, and I know how much sometimes you wonder, what do you do? How do you really, what are the alternatives? And so it's really not an easy task, but it's at least a starting point for us to kind of make a change in our lives, and hopefully in the lives around people with us, right? So next slide, please. Okay. And along with the ways that you could participate, we encourage people to get into specific activities which are either held by us or activities that are held by others, in partnership with us. And so it was really wonderful to see how we had each day we had activities arranged, and people could participate in those activities. So we had a very, very packed week, as you can see, with multiple events, from making of bottle breaks to having debates on banning or planning plastic, to working with domestic workers, teaching them how to do waste segregation, to working with community workers and rack workers and helping them to understand how to recycle better, how to upcycle, how to make creative products out of waste. So there were multiple things that we did to make sure that, we spread the word really, really as far as possible. Yeah, next slide, please. We can just go through the next few slides, but those just images from the campaign. So yeah, this is the bottle breaks demonstration. Next. These are some of the ban or plan event that we had, the pictures that people did for shopping. Next, please. And again, for the domestic workers, as well as with the rag pickers and community workers as well. So I think it takes all of us. Next slide, please. I think it takes all of us to make sure that we can change our societies and change our habits. But it all starts with each one of us. So it's not easy, and that's why we also kind of had a shopping event at the end to kind of show that there are alternatives. More often than not, we don't think there are alternatives. And because we didn't want this to be a competition per se, but again make everybody involved in activity based, we are now going to have our grand finale, which is on the 4th, and where where we want to recognize, appreciate, applaud all those who have taken part, but also to learn from each other and look at some of the innovations that have come out through this. So, yes, it's going to be a great event and we're looking forward to it. And I'm sure that just as we had such a fantastic time and an eye opening time, during this whole week, I hope that you will also find that you will discover many new things, not just about plastic, but also about your own lifestyles and get insights into that thoughts and habits, which hopefully will lead you to living a plastic free life and a much, much more better planet for all of us. Thank you so much for this opportunity once again, Pranati, and wishing all of you the very, very best.
Thank you so much, Karen. It is indeed a pleasure, and it feels great to see the amount of work that the Mumbai chapter and Mumbai has been doing when it comes to plastic. And it is a great moment, and we're really happy to collaborate and be a part of this together. While I do that, let me share with you just a few things that I just, Mumbai has done some great work in having the whole summit where they had discussions. And I love the concept that you had yesterday. I think that was really, really interesting to show that, hello, there are substitutes. And don't you think that there isn't an option? We can find substitutes. One has to have an open mind to make a difference. So we've also, like, one of them that they had collaborated with is based in Pune for the shopping, and we are having her bags and purses being given as gifts in one of our in the as one of the society challenge that we have launched. So it's indeed a great pleasure to share all to know and to be a part of this. Um, Moving on, we have with us George Joseph, who is from the Kerala chapter, and I'd like him to share a few thoughts on what they are doing in Kerala to talk about plastic.
Thank you, Pranati. Always glad to collaborate with this Maharashtra and Goa chapter. And we have friends there. They're a vibrant group. We had a good job together during this 7-day challenge. We had this move challenge, eat challenge, live challenge. That was great. And we were energized during the lockdown that we had in the country. And now we are collaborating again for this plastic-free week initiative. You are doing great there. We have done something and we are waiting for a band to be over to do the next programs. So thanks once more for inviting me to speak, Pranati.
Thank you. Thank you, George, for joining us today. We also have Renuka from Tamil Nadu, who's joined us with today. And I'll request her to share because they are again doing some great competition, and I'm sure students can participate in this.
Thank
So
you,
share and give
Pranati.
some light what you all are doing.
Thank you, Pranati. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. So thank you. I am Dr. Renuka Jain from Bangalore chapter, and we are having two events that we are conducting. One is the lifestyle challenge, which is open for everybody, and you can see for a week how you sustain with living without plastic. So we are getting the responses from the entries that we have received for it. You have to register online to into the competition and share the thoughts that you had, how you managed to do within a week's time with a either in a way of picture or in a way of a write-up. And second contest we have is a creative idea for creative and innovative idea for plastic management. How is there any alternative to plastic or recycling or upcycling or any other modes? This contest is open for young students from 13 to 23. There are two age groups. And again, the last date for submission is 5th of November by 11:50 p.m. in the night. So we look forward for entries, and I will share where one can register on the Google form. Once they are registered, they will get the guidelines how to go about the contest. Thank you, Pranati. You're doing great job and looking forward for more collaborations together. Thank you.
Thank you, Renuka, for joining in today. And please do share the link so students
Yes.
who are joined in here can also participate. And we'll
Yes.
also put it on Facebook Live because due to bandwidth, we haven't been able to add too many people here. Just living in the age of plastic, where plastic is a miracle material, quoted by Eric Solheim, plastic is some type or the other, has reached each continent on Earth, and there is no sign of it pacing down. Found and used at every possible corner and every possible place on Earth. The problem is of disposal. We do know that it cannot get recycled by its natural process. And that is the challenge. Hence, plastic needs to be segregated and recycled in either a process or reused. That does not say that plastic is a bad material. It's all about how we segregate it and how we reuse it. And that's what we are aiming here at the Plastic Free Week Challenge, or the whole plastic movement that we plan to do. We have become addicted to it, and hence, I think we need to look at it. We need to retrospect what we are doing, how we are going to do it. While we are doing all this, we have somebody with us today who is, I would talk like, he heads something that is very different, and he talks about waste as an entire spectrum. He is the man who is heading a cooperative of rat pickers in the city of Pune. The director of Swatch, Harshad Balde. It's great when you hear the story of how Swatch has made an impact in the city of Pune. They are, I would say, the official collectors. They are the people who manage the entity and its waste single-handedly. So it is a private organization who manages waste in Pune and not the government, is what I would put it at. Though associated very closely with the PMC and working with them, I would say they are a cooperative and an independent organization. I would like to welcome Harshad Balde, a lawyer by training. He's been part of the central government drafting committees for the 2016 waste management, also been part of creating Pune's waste management bylaws. The Swatch Cooperative is India's first and largest cooperative society of informal waste pickers, with more than 3,500 waste pickers recycling upwards of 200 tons per day and saving Pune city hundreds of crores per annum. This is a story of how a small institute can make a difference, how people can make a difference, and how you could give respect to every individual who lives with us. And that is something that Swatch has to share. And I'd like to welcome Harshad to share the story of Swatch and how we are collaborating for the whole plastic-free movement. Over to you, Harshad.
Thank you for a very generous introduction. Would it be possible for you to share the PPT on the screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Kailash, can we have the Swatch PPT?
So I'd just like to thank Sustain and Save and Pranati and your team for organizing this extremely interesting event, and I'm sure you'll give much more information about it later on. What I'm going to try and cover is what happens in the city if we are not able to do what Karen and you guys are trying to do. If you're not able to reduce, if you're not able to abstain from the use of plastic, then what is it that you do with it? Just to take off from the quote that Pranati read out to all of us, finally, the option is to ensure that it gets recycled. But a lot of us don't recognize, recognize how is it that recycling actually takes place in our cities. This is the case not only in Pune, but all across the world, all across the country, that most of plastic recycling is actually undertaken by the informal sector. To give you an introduction about my organization, I work for a cooperative of informal waste pickers which means that it is completely owned and controlled and managed by the waste pickers of Pune. Like Pranati pointed out, we work in collaboration with the Pune Municipal Corporation, and the objective has been that the invisible environmentalists of our society, the waste pickers who pick waste and recyclables from the streets, from our houses, from landfills, from containers and riversides, and wherever they can have access to waste, the people who pick this waste and send it for recycling and account for at least 90% of the recycling that happens in our cities, as far as the municipal solid waste collection system is concerned, need to be integrated into the waste management systems. If you see in most cities, you have formal waste collectors who are contract workers or employees of the municipal corporation, and then you have informal waste pickers who actually walk the streets and the landfills and pick waste from there. What the Pune Corporation and Swachh has been able to do is to integrate these same people into the formal collection system. Could I just have the next slide, please? Over the last 15 years, around 3,500 waste pickers have been integrated into the system. And the idea is that the waste management system is dependent on recycling. The more you're able to recycle, the more you're able to make sure that this waste collection system works, because the waste pickers are not employees of Swachh. They're not employees of the corporation. They are paid user fees directly by the citizens. So I pay my waste picker 50 rupees, 60 rupees directly at the doorstep, and that is her primary source of income. Her secondary source of income is from the sale of the dry waste that I give to her on a day-to-day basis. She will take out the paper, plastic, metal, glass, cloth, anything that she can recycle and sell into the scrap market. She will remove it right at my doorstep and send it into recycling. This ensures that there is an inbuilt motivation, an inbuilt mechanism to ensure recycling at source, because the waste picker wants it separate all the time. The direct user fee system also takes care of issues with respect to transparency, accountability. For example, I don't know who sweeps the road in front of my house, and I can rarely ever hold that person responsible. But because I pay my waste picker at my doorstep, I can hold her responsible if she doesn't come. And this results in efficiencies across the system. Next slide, please. So this is how the Pune's waste management system generally works. I won't get into too much of a detail, but suffice to say that around 70% of the waste generated in the city today is collected by these Swachh waste pickers. They will take out around 220 tons of different types of recyclables and sell them to scrap shops, which will then pass them on to recyclers, which will then create goods which enter back into our households. Next slide, please. This is the overall situation of the waste management situation in Pune, where we have around 12 lakh properties generating upwards of 2,000 tons per day. And like I said, out of this 200 tons is recycled by the waste pickers. Since we're talking about plastic waste, in Pune, the estimated generation is around 166 tons per day. Next slide, please. The issue, however, with these estimations is that nobody has a very clear idea, because segregation is still not at 100%. Wherever Swachh waste pickers collect from, directly or indirectly, they ensure that segregation happens at least up to 95%. But if you look at the rest of the city, there's waste falling on the streets, there's waste going into containers, and we really don't know what that waste is. And that does not get recycled today. If we look at how waste is characterized, what are the components of waste in Pune, as well as this will hold true for most metro and tier 1 cities across the country, you'll find that 70 to 75% of residential waste is wet waste, and around 8.5% is plastic waste. I won't get into the other categories, but I'll just point out that sanitary waste, which is diapers and napkins, also comprise around 2.5%. That's about 1/3 of all the plastic that we generate and throw out. Or 1/3 of that is the amount of diapers and napkins that we're throwing out today. Next slide, please. Now, if we look at what plastic actually is, there's technical definitions and there's cultural definitions, social definitions. I'd like to get into the recycling definitions. We look at plastic as one type of material, but it's actually so many different types that most people just don't know what it is. Even most people in the industry will not know what are the different types of materials. From the informal recycling point of view, though, this slide shows the most important types that are prevalent today and the waste that is being thrown out. The biggest parts of this is the flexible packaging. So you have your Kurkure and your, I shouldn't take a brand name, any kind of multi-layered packaging that has an aluminum foil in it. anything that you eat chips in, the plastic bags that you buy, any kind of packaging that comes in, that food today comes in, is mostly made out of plastic. And a lot of it is, though technically recyclable, it does not get recycled because there is no value chain for it. So you can segregate it, you can keep it separate, but it is simply not profitable to actually recycle and sell the recycled goods. So it doesn't get recycled. It ends up in the landfill. Whereas certain other things like milk bags, plastic water bottles, that is PET, or HDPE, which is shampoo bottles, these are high grade plastic. These are easily recyclable, and in most cities, they will easily get recycled. It is the low value plastic, the flexible, low weight, high volume kind of plastic that simply doesn't get recycled in the city. Could you go to the next slide, please? Right. If you look at how plastic flows in most urban cities, you have the generator on your at the beginning, which could be households, commercials, all types of generators, and you will have the municipal waste collection system, which will buy this, which will collect this waste, and then you will have people who are collecting waste on the streets, which is fallen down, which are the itinerant waste pickers. In Pune, though, we have a separate system where, like I said, 70% are Swachh waste pickers who will remove almost 20% of the waste that we are throwing out every day and sell it to scrap shops. And through scrap shops, it ends up with larger dealers and eventually going into recycling through various companies. The plastic bottle, the Coke bottle that you have and you throw away, the Swachh waste picker will sort it, she'll store it, she will transport it, sell it, and eventually that will end up into recycling, which will then go on to make the, the football jersey kind of polyester clothes, or it will go to make plastic bottles again. Could you please go to the next slide? Thank you. This is something that maybe we can just share later on. Essentially, every type of material, every type of plastic gets recycled based on its weight to volume ratio. So if something is heavy, if it has a higher density, it has lower volume, it is easier to transport it. And then if it is easy to transport, you can afford to actually recycle it. The second thing is whether it is a single type of plastic or multiple types of plastic. When you have a plastic bottle, just a water bottle, the main body of the bottle is made out of PET, but the cap of the bottle is made out of either HDPE or PP, two different types of plastic. And then the little label is then made out of PVC, which is a third type of plastic. Now, when you throw out the plastic bottle, it doesn't get recycled just like that. These components have to be broken down by somebody manually. They have to be cleaned. And only after that, each one of those plastics will be recycled separately. This table kind of shows what is it that gets recycled and what is it that doesn't get recycled, irrespective of segregation at source. Could you please go to the next slide? Right. If we just look in Pune at what is the impact of the waste pickers, segregating the waste at source, then sorting it into different categories, transporting and selling it, over the last 5 years, this is the kind of impact that they've had. 8 lakh metric tons of CO2 avoided, 23 lakh trees saved just from the paper component of recycling, and around 35 crore liters of petrol consumption has been avoided because of the plastic that they're recycling. And over the last 5 years, around 90 crore rupees have been saved by the Pune Municipal Corporation because of this, this method of recycling. The fact that we've created these chains that material goes into recycling directly from our households. Now, if we don't have this, then that 90 crore is going to come out of our property tax. That 90 crore is going to come out of our schools, our water systems, our sewerage, our roads, so on and so forth. Therefore, going back to the point that we need to create this kind of system everywhere else in the country also, where the system is dependent on recycling. And therefore, more the recycling happens, the better the system will improve. Could you please go to the next slide? Thank you. Coming back to the point that there are certain types of plastic that do not get recycled, the simple reason for it is the fact that it is financially unviable to recycle them. In some cases, it is also environmentally unsustainable, but definitely the immediate problem is financial responsibility. If it costs 10 rupees to transport and recycle something and you only get 6 rupees out of it, it's a 4 rupee loss. It does not happen. What is the solution for this? Across the country and across the world, we now have extended producer responsibility, where the manufacturer who is making the plastic, who is using the plastic in their products, is the one who should be responsible for making sure that if there is a viability gap, they have to cover it up. So in Pune, we've tried up with one FMCG company through which all the low value plastic, like I said, the chips packaging, the food packaging, the little plastic bags, the little things that you get your ketchup and things and shampoos in, all of these are collected by the waste pickers. and then transport it to a recycler. And the viability gap, which can vary from around 8 rupees per kilo to around 20 rupees per kilo. Consider that there's around 60 tons of this material being generated every day. That's the amount of cost that is involved in recycling this material. Now we've set up the system in such a way that the waste pickers will get money for sorting this material and selling it. The Pune Municipal Corporation, that is the citizens of Pune, will save money because it's being diverted. And the manufacturer is the one who actually pays for this system. Could you please go to the next slide? Over the last 1 year, pre-lockdown, of course, we were able to collect around 556 tons of this low value plastic waste that was then sent into recycling and did not end up in the landfill. Now, coming back to what we have going on right now here, like Karen said before, reduce and reuse are the principal modes of option. However, while you are convincing the citizens all across the globe to start doing that, we need to ensure that segregation and recycling is going to take place. We need to recycle at our doorstep, but we should not be confused. We should not confuse recycling, segregation and recycling directly. There is a chain between those two. Even after you segregate all of your dry waste, you still have to remove your plastic waste from it. Even if you segregate all of your plastic waste, you still have to sort it into HDPE, LDPE, polypropylene, extended EPS, and many other types of plastic before it ends up into recycling. This is where the informal sector comes in. And we need all of us, we need all the citizens of Pune and other cities to recognize the fact that there is an industry which is doing this work for us. How can we contribute is that do not mix wet and dry waste. That's pretty simple, that's pretty straightforward. But beyond that, if you're able to segregate your plastic waste, store it for some time and give it to your waste picker. She is going to turn it into the material that you're going to buy tomorrow, and it enters that circular economy. If you don't do that, then that plastic waste is going to end up mixed with other types of paper, metal, glass, other things, not necessarily wet waste. Other types of dry waste end up in a facility where you have to spend a lot of money and energy, and it won't end up in recycling. It might end up in things like waste to energy, where we are burning the material, or it will end up in a landfill, which will then enter the water streams, which will eventually enter the oceans, which will get into the fishes, which will get into your system at some point of time and give you cancer. Sorry. What you therefore need to do is you need to focus on segregating at source. And the program that you have right now, which is to generate awareness all across the country, all across the city, in societies, to segregate their waste and maintain it that way, is going to be very, very critical. And I think it will contribute quite a bit. There is one last point that I'd like to make, which all of us, which is really close to my heart and should be close to every person who wants to ensure recycling happens. We do not give space for recycling in our cities. We don't want waste in our backyards. We want it to travel somewhere far away outside of city to a landfill or to a processing plant where it gets recycled, or where we think it might get recycled. But the fact of the matter is that we have to decentralize systems. We have to bring recycling and the processes as close to our homes as possible so that the level of segregation is maintained. If there are sorting sheds near your houses, monitor them, make sure that they're maintained clean. If there are spaces around your houses, please make sure that if someone comes and says, we want to sort waste or store waste over here so that it goes into recycling, support them. And I think these two critical things of segregating and supporting recycling at a decentralized level will enable us to set up systems where we are able to reduce plastic waste entering into our landfills. Thank you so much, Pranati and team. This has been really great coming and speaking. Thank you.
Thank you. And that was really, really inspiring, the story that you shared, doing, how you're doing it, and it's commendable. We have a Swachh rag picker come to our house every single day, and we're so grateful to them from the bottom of our heart that they do make a difference. And like you said, nobody wants to have waste at their doorstep, but where is it going? What are we going to do? And we have to encourage segregation at home and in our own areas to make this whole movement possible and make it a mass movement. Thank you so much, Harshad, for joining us, and it is indeed an honor. Moving on to what we are here today is the launch, of course, of the Plastic Free Movement, November 2020. Can I have the slide, please? We are definitely happy to associate with a lot of people because it is a mass movement and it is a people's movement, and this cannot happen without people. It's by the people, for the people. So this is, it's my honor to be the chair of the Sweden Alumni Maharashtra and Goa chapter, but also and a lot of support from the Swedish Institute. But this can only be possible with our partners who have been here or who have collaborated with us today. Can we have the next, please? Next slide. So while we do this, this is what we do. And Sustain and Save is this solution that we're trying at Sustain and Save. We are trying to find a solution. Well, it is very difficult, but we are making an effort to encourage the youth to think different and to look for different ways of working around plastic and doing different things with plastic, rather playing around with plastic, while we have this 1-month-long Changemaker program that we launched today officially. And I'd like to welcome all the Changemakers today for this entire 1 month of jam-packed working together and making an impact together. Next, please. Yeah, okay. So that is what we are talking about today, is the Changemakers program and the launch of that. That is where we have, so just to give you a little brief to all my the co-colleagues who joined in today and Harshad, this is something that we are very excited about every single month. And in the past months, we've done a lot of things. And to talk a little about what we've done in the past months, I will be inviting Ankita shortly. Just before I leave that podium of and move to the Sustain and Save chair, let me just thank all our partners for this entire movement: the Sweden Alumni Network, Sustain and Save, Rudra, who is also helping in the collection of plastic, Swatch, who is also helping in the collection of plastic, the other Poonawalla Foundation, who is also helping in the plastic collection. Of course, the Pune Municipal Corporation, who have wholeheartedly said, yes, we are with you, and they will be working on a press note shortly and help make it a mass movement. And the FICCI Flow women, who have actually joined hands with us, who are doing a 7-day Eat, Move, Live Plastic Free Challenge and Plastic Recycle Challenge, which was launched on the 31st. And they are doing like activities every single day. They're posting it, they're doing different things to promote plastic free life while they live a healthy life. So this is something that we've launched with the FICCI Pune chapter, and it has been the inaugural that happened on 31st was a great event. So thank you everybody for actually being a part of this entire month. And what to you, Ankita, to talk about the whole month and welcoming all our change makers, the youth of tomorrow.
Thank you, Pranati. Thank you, Harshad. I think your presentation was extremely informative. Thank you, Renuka. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Moving to the fun part, I think the Changemakers program, which is extremely close to my heart, and I really love the energy that I get from it. Can we just stop going YouTube live, because it's something more internal? So I request Kailash to kindly stop. Just let me know once we've stopped